So we got to thinking, like, who are some other players that maybe need to have a comeback type of season for their team to do well in their division? So we're going to play a little game. We're going to call a comeback. We're going to make some predictions. I look angry in that photo. Yeah. I feel like there must be a shot where I look happy, no?
Yeah, they used it yesterday in the thing where we're sitting by the campfire, and I look lost. So every day, another one of us gets a shot.
Yeah,
That's the way it goes.
Listen, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start in Tampa's division, the Central Division.
Yeah.
Which I'm still getting used to saying, but this is a look at the Real Line Discover Central Division. If you had to pick a player on one of these teams to that needs to come back to help their team make the postseason, who are you looking at?
Well, I was going to pick Ben Bishop for the Dallas Stars because, I don't even know what his status is at this point, but he had the surgery. He's not going to be back until maybe late March. So I'm going to go with another Dallas Star. I'm going to go with Roope Hintz, who is, he's not somebody that necessarily has to come back, but he's somebody I think who's got a lot more upside in this game. We see him in the postseason, and when he seems to raise his level, he's going to get an opportunity now to play with Gurianov and Ben. Seguin is out of the mix, and I just think Roope Hintz, he's got more levels. He's got a bigger ceiling. He's going to have to be, I think, good right from the get-go for the Dallas Stars this year because of the injuries and because of the fact it's hard to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Dallas, too, is that they're starting so much later than everybody. I don't know if that's an advantage or a disadvantage. Lots, who you got?
I got Matt Duchene, this guy right here, as you see, lighting it up, because that's what we always do with the highlights. But last year wasn't exactly lighting it up the way you'd expect from a player of his ilk, just 42 points in the 66 games. Nashville was a little sleepy last year. They underachieved for me. I expect Matt to have a much bigger year, be a leader on that team. I didn't necessarily like what I saw in the first game from him, but it's just one game. I did like the fact that they won, though.
You know what?
That's most important.
It's interesting. He said that last year at the return to play, prior to starting, he ended up breaking his jaw, and it was not diagnosed at the time. So maybe an excuse for how things maybe didn't go as well as it could have for him. We'll see. He's an important player there, no doubt.
Undiagnosed broken jaw. Seems like a rarity.
It's a tough miss.
Yes, it is. To the East
okay.
we go. Here's a look at what the East Division looks like. You had to pick a player here. Where are you going?
I'm going to go with Evgeny Kuznetsov. And the reason is he didn't have a bad year last year. I mean, he had 19 goals, 52 points in 63 games. But in other years, just 2 years ago, he had 83 points. The year after that, 72 points. And I just always feel with Kuznetsov, as goes Kuznetsov, as go the Caps. When he's playing well, I think it sets the table for everybody else to do their thing. So for me, Kuznetsov is going to be an important piece.
All right, well, I'm going to stick with, I started with a 29-year-old and Matt Duchene. I'm going to go to another 29-year-old and this guy right here, Taylor Hall. You see him? Newly acquired, or not acquired, newly signed, unrestricted free agent with the Buffalo Sabres. A little bit underwhelming last year for me. Went to Arizona, the big trade, ended up with 52 points in 65 games. That's really good for most of the players in the league, but not this guy. I'm looking for that bounce-back year, the one he had with New Jersey a few years ago when he was essentially the MVP of the National Hockey League.
All right, we've gone through two divisions. Let's go to the Canadian division, as I like to call it. I'm going to call it the Scotia Canadian division. You got all your Canadian teams. Each, what team sticks out to you that has a player that needs to make a comeback?
You know what? You can't post these divisions enough because I can't remember all the time who's in what division. So please continue to post these for both me and for the fans. I think we have a similar problem. I'm going to go with Patrick Laine. Just, what we saw last night, what a difference maker, this guy can be. I know there's this talk he's going to be traded, and maybe he will be, but if he plays like that and he has that kind of commitment, I don't know why you'd send him anywhere. What could you get in return that would make it worthwhile for you? But, when you think about his first 2 years in the league, 36 and 44 goals, and then last year, 28 goals. So, he has high upside, Lots.
Yeah, he's certainly an important player. I'm going to take, for me, though, this year, Braden Holtby, the Vancouver Canucks. Why? Because he's the guy that's going to be counted. And we know Thatcher Demko's a good goalie, but Holtby got the win in Game 1 and looks really strong. Demko not so much in year 2, but I think Holtby's got to prove that he can bring that pedigree as a Stanley Cup champion to the Vancouver Canucks. I'm looking for him to have a huge year and lead Vancouver.
All right, final division, the West. A reminder, who plays in the West?
Yes.
These would be the teams that play in the West, the Honda West. Each be guys.
I'm going to go with Brent Burns. And, again, it's not that Burns had a terrible year last year. I thought that it was a tough year for everybody in San Jose. But, You know, you think about it, in the 18-19 season, he had 83 points in 82 games as a plus player. Last year in 70 games, 45 points, minus 22. He's going to be, he's going to be 36 years of age in March. And, with his contract, he's got 4 more years left. Johnny talked about him being in the expansion draft. So, he needs a better year.
All right, I'm going to go with EK. You see him right there. Why? Because, I don't know, Nicholas Milosh, Mario Faria, Nikolai Kisnev. Together, these guys have a combined 64 NHL games. That's 3 of the other D. So you're going to be relying heavily on Burns. But for me, Carlson is the guy that needs to get back to that level he was at before. 32 minutes in Game 1.
Yeah.
I did not think he played well, though. That doesn't go together, but I expect more for him, particularly on the power play.
Yeah, and that's, you said it, why he's playing that much time is because they're really inexperienced after Burns, Vlasic, and Carlson. That's a lot of minutes for a guy that...
32 minutes in Game 1.
That's a lot.
And he wasn't great for me.
Well, he wasn't great defensively, that's for sure.
Yes.
So.
Well, I guess it's a good thing it's a 56-game season.
Thank goodness.
Maybe.
Yeah.